Hello, you beautiful people. So I do apologise about the stream on Friday. I was actually streaming, but despite checking on regular occasions, it turns out it didn't broadcast. So what I'm going to do, in the absence of all footage, is I'm going to show you how I compose my shots, the things that I am attracted to, or what drew me to that image, and also how I crop in editing. So the visual patterns that you'll see in this image are the fact that Joel is the brightest object in there, and you can compare him against the light hitting the wall and the floor as well, and he's just slightly brighter, and that's something that will grab your eye and draw yourself towards Joel. The other thing that you'll notice is that there is quite a lot of textures in this image. So you've got the bricks on the wall to the right, you have all of the flooring as well. You've also got a rather interesting section of the ceiling where the plasters come away, so you can see the underside of the other floor. One of the other tools that I used was framing. So you'll notice that not only did I make sure that Joel lined up with the doorway to use that as a frame for him, there's also a small window that's framing his head. And again, this helps to draw the eye in to show what the main subject is. The most prolific tool that was used in this was actually leading lines, and you've got that from where the ceiling tapers in, the floor tapers in, you have where the windows taper in, which also serve as a repeating pattern as well. You've got the pipe on the left below the windows leading in towards him, and you've got all of the floor pointing towards him, and then finally you've got the rays of light as well. So first thing I'll need to do is to rotate the image, and I'm going to set the aspect ratio of 3:2 and then change that to portrait mode. And then I just need to adjust the corners to get the most out of this. And then I've noticed that Joel isn't quite central, so I'm going to drag the bottom right corner in until he is. So there we are. This is the crop that I'm going for. We've still got the interesting part in the ceiling where it's fallen apart. You've got the repeating pattern of the windows, and also with the depth of focus, you've still got some of the bokeh effects on the ceiling and the roof, but by cropping in, I've removed the most intense parts of that. And that's something that I accounted for when I was actually taking the photo, because I knew I was going to lose the top and the bottom. I had to increase the intensity to still get the effect with the cropped image. So that's something to bear in mind if, like myself, you edit your pictures afterwards. Now, there were two subjects in this image that grabbed my attention. The first being the van, and the second being Ellie's facial expression. So with this van, you've got really not a great deal pointing towards it. So you've got the blades of grass pointing towards her, and also if you look at the texture below the leaves that's below the van, you'll also see the markings in the path that's also leading towards it. I intentionally set the depth of focus on the door and the writing of the van, and I set it just so the writing behind the door is still in focus. It goes slightly out on the E, but you've got the horse in there as well. So I've rotated and set the aspect of this image now, and looking at it, I can actually crop this in slightly further, because the main things that I am interested in are the indicator, the rust on the roof, on the A-pillar, and also on the frame of the window. I like the faded writing of the Mank and the horse, and also I like the writing on the door. So I'm actually going to crop in further to get just that. Bring that in. Let's have a look at this. That's a little bit too close. So I'm going to just bring the top right hand corner in. And what I'm doing is bringing in more parts of the image where the sun is hitting it. And effectively, by bringing in lighter parts of the screen, you're actually brightening the entire image. So if you look, that looks slightly brighter to how it was. It's got more detail. You've got the broken windscreen, the empty seat, and it just tells more of the story. But I just want to just show you a few things. So to give you an example, with this crop, because the majority of the image is dark, it looks like a darker picture. And yet with the very same image, if I move it over to the lighter part, there is quite a marked difference in it. But either way, let's go back to the part I was interested in, which I'm going to set for around here. So this is the final image, or the final crop. It's got all of the elements that I wanted in there, and it's taken out a lot of the clutter. So the subjects that didn't really add to this story. And that's one of the purposes of cropping. So let's go to the second image from that shot. So the thing that really draws your eye to Ellie in this picture is the fact that her face is the brightest thing. And that works really well because it was her expression that first drew me to this image. There is a series of leading lines that all point towards her. So you've got the curb at the far end, you've got a crack in the road, you've got the horizontal and vertical lines of the front of the car, and also where the grass meets the path, there's also a leading line there. All of these serve to draw your eye towards the main subject, which is Ellie. And you've also got contrast in here. So it's the red of Ellie's hair and her shirt, and although it's more to the orange, you've also got her shoes. And this contrasts nicely against the greens in the image. There's a lot of textures in this picture, which also makes it interesting and keeps the eyes within the image. So you've got the dark bush, you've got the different textures of grass, you have all of the leaves, and also a part of the road where the actual tarmac's disappeared, and you've got that sort of grainy bit. And you've also got all of the leaves and I can only imagine some pieces of slate. That's what it looks like to me. That's below her feet. And then you've got the creases in her jeans and the bottom of her t-shirt. Let's look around. What is the most interesting thing? Well, being that you've got a sea of grass, and that places Ellie's midriff, including head, in the mid-ground, it places this interesting flooring, a little pile of slate, or whatever that is, the bit of the car, in the foreground, and if you look, you've also got all of the interest, so the two textures of grass and the bush at the top. But what I'm actually going to do is use the rule of thirds, and it doesn't really matter that it's not central to her face or anything like that, but whether it's OCD or not, I'm going to put it center of her face. So this, I feel, is quite a strong image. As I've pointed out, there's a lot of visual language utilised in this, so everything draws your eyes naturally to Ellie. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be streaming this Friday at 8 PM GMT, so you can see me in action if you'd like. Have a great week, and remember, we say goodbye so we can say hello again. Goodbye.